Hello and welcome to the Ouroboros presentation of Clueless. I'll be your host, Nash Johnston, as we try to solve the mystery of the murder of Mr. John Body in the mysterious two-door mansion. So, let's go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to start up the server, and later we'll be using that to sort of cheat a little. You'll see what I mean. Go ahead and start up the Clueless application. So as you can see, you have it laid out with the board over here on the left. Each room and hallway is a button, clickable button, that you use for movement. Down here we have the message output, so that's where all the notifications show up. Here we have the player color block, shows you what player you currently are. The card selection pane over here can be used for accusations, suggestions, and disapprovals. And the journal shows you which cards you know about and who owns those cards. You can see each player starts in the starting position outlined in the project description, and you have a single enabled button, the Join Game button. So, once you do that, you are assigned a player with a color, and the Leave Game button is enabled. And you also get a notification that you have been assigned Miss Scarlet, and that you have joined the game. If you leave the game, your color disappears, the Join Game button is re-enabled, the Leave Game button is disabled, and you get a message saying you've left the game. So, we're going to go ahead and join the game with a bunch of different people. So you see there's Colonel Mustard, and he gets all the notifications. Here you have Miss White, and once Miss White joins the game, you have 3 players playing, and so now you have the Start Game button enabled. Now we're going to keep joining with different players to show the maximum limit on the game. So there's Mr. Green, Mrs. Peacock, and Mr. Plum. Sorry, Professor Plum. No offense, Professor. Now, if a 7th player tries to join the game, they get a notification that the game is full and nothing happens. But if we have a previous player leave the game, the next player can then join the game and be assigned that player. Now, if we have a player, say, someone closer to the start, like Miss Scarlet or Colonel Mustard, leave the game, the next person to join will be assigned the first available player. So in this case, that would be Colonel Mustard. So now that we have enough players, we're going to go ahead and start a game. But first, we're going to go ahead and close some of the windows, which also causes the player to leave the game. So we'll have 3 players that are not actually playing. So Professor Plum is going to leave. Mrs. Peacock is going to leave. Mr. Green. And I believe that leaves us with Miss Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, and Mrs. White. So any 3 of these can start the game. We're going to go ahead and click that with Mrs. White here. So when she starts the game, it is not her turn, as play begins with Miss Scarlet. So you'll notice that all of her buttons are disabled, and clicking any of the movement buttons doesn't really do anything until you would actually click this move button here. So we're going to go ahead and start the game with Miss Scarlet's turn. So you notice with Miss Scarlet, you see over here in the journal, all the entries are filled in with the cards that she owns. in her own color. And you'll see the same is done for Colonel Mustard and Mrs. White. Now, you also can notice back on the back end here, I have the evidence cards that are actually in the case file printed out on the server. So I can use that to kind of help demonstrate some of the game states later. So, Miss Scarlet can either move or end her turn at this point. Don't really want to do nothing, so we're going to go ahead and move to the lounge. So I click that, the move becomes disabled, click the lounge, and we move there. Notice the notification down here saying Miss Scarlet has moved to the lounge, and you see that same notification in Mrs. White's panel, as well as Colonel Mustard's panel. So, now that we're in a room, the suggestion button has become enabled. So we're going to go ahead and make a suggestion. So once we click that, these drop downs are populated with all of the possible players, all of the possible weapons, and only the room that you are currently in. To try and elicit a response from another player, we're going to kind of mislead them a little bit here and see if anybody has the lounge. So we're going to pick two cards that we know about and ask about the lounge. So once we confirm that, we see our suggestion pop up here. And because we haven't seen anybody disprove it yet, and the next person in the list who would be the one to disprove would be Colonel Mustard, go to his window and we'll see that he is in fact able to disprove. So he only has the lounge, so that's the only card that shows up here, and this is the only button available that he can actually click, and we see the notification here that Miss Scarlet has suggested the Mr. Green with the lead pipe in the lounge. So we go ahead and disprove that. All our buttons are now disabled. We get a message saying Colonel Mustard has disproved the suggestion, as does Mrs. White and Miss Scarlet. In addition to the message that everyone else gets, Miss Scarlet actually gets the name of the card, as well as the journal entry being filled in with the color of the player who disproved it. So, now really the only option Miss Scarlet has left is either to end her turn or to make an accusation. At this early stage of the game, making an accusation isn't terribly prudent without already knowing what the cards are, which we're going to assume she doesn't. We go ahead and end her turn. So we end the turn, and the play now moves to Colonel Mustard. And with the notification, it is your turn, and his buttons are now enabled. So we're going to go ahead and move him to the lounge. And we're going to make a suggestion here. So again, we see the notification that he's moved to the lounge, and we're going to make a suggestion that I'm going to go ahead and make one that nobody can disprove. Or actually, instead of doing that, we're going to make one that only Miss Scarlet can disprove, so that we see the disproved play will skip Miss White because she is unable to disprove the suggestion, and will go to Miss Scarlet because she would be the next player to attempt. So we're going to go ahead and look at what might she have. So we're going to pick Mr. Green, and we're also going to go ahead and pick the lead pipe. So we're going to go with Mr. Green and the lead pipe. And you see the lounge, Colonel Mustard has that, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that suggestion. We see that Mrs. White cannot disprove the suggestion. And we go to Miss Scarlet, who is able to disprove. And now, since she has multiple options, she can pick one of these two options to disprove. So we're going to go ahead and pick the lead pipe and disprove that. We see the notification that she's disproved the suggestion, as does Mrs. White and Colonel Mustard sees the name of the card, and it's filled in on his journal. We're going to go ahead and end here. So now it's Mrs. White's turn. Now you notice, I guess I forgot to mention this, you'll notice when Miss Scarlet made a suggestion, Mr. Green was moved to the lounge, and since Colonel Mustard made the same suggestion, Mr. Green stayed in the lounge. So now it's Mrs. White's turn. We're going to go ahead and move her to the kitchen. And we're going to make a suggestion that moves Mrs. Scarlet to the kitchen. So we're going to go ahead and choose her, the candlestick, and the kitchen, of which Miss White only has the candlestick. So we'll probably see disapproval come from another player. Go ahead and click confirm. You see Miss Scarlet is moved to the kitchen, and that notification saying that she has pops up in the window. And we see Mrs. White's suggestion. The play now falls to Miss Scarlet, who can disprove. She has the kitchen, so she goes ahead and does that. You see the notification. Even though Colonel Mustard, sorry, he didn't have any cards available. Never mind. So now it goes back to Miss White, and she can end her turn here. So now play returns to Mrs. Scarlet, and you notice that right away she can make a suggestion because she was moved by someone else before her turn came around. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to make a suggestion. Why not? We're going to move... let's go ahead and move Miss Peacock over here and see if we can't get some more information from somebody. So, see, Miss Peacock is moved over. Colonel Mustard can't disprove, but it didn't say no one could disprove, so we're going to go ahead and guess Miss White can in fact disprove that one. So you see the message pop up over here, and the card is filled in on Miss Scarlet's journal. So we go ahead and we did leave the option to move after that suggestion open, so that is available, but we're going to go ahead and end the turn now. So now it is Colonel Mustard's turn, and he is going to go ahead and move to the conservatory through the secret entrance, as indicated by these little blocks here on the corners of the rooms. So he goes ahead and moves to the conservatory, and he can make his suggestion from there. So he's going to pull Professor Plum in and see if he can't get someone to disprove the conservatory. So Miss White can't disprove it, but it looks like Miss Scarlet can. So she disproves Professor Plum. Missed the button. And now he can end his turn. So now that it's Mrs. White's turn, I want to move her out into the hallway to demonstrate a blocked hall. So she moves into the hallway and ends her turn. So now goes back to Miss Scarlet, and if she tries to move into the hallway, she's unable to do that, and you see that that is not a valid move. You also cannot move to the same room that you're currently in. You get another notification saying it's invalid. And you can basically keep trying this until you actually find a valid move. So we're going to move her up to the